Hello, everyone. Welcome to Jamaica 411. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm your host, Michelle Stern. So, if you're here, I take it you have watched my previous videos on the cascas that went on in the Parliament on Tuesday. Well, this time I am going to take a deeper dive into that video that was done by Nikisha Burchell. In my view, further compounding the issues and very likely putting ourselves in the firing line of problems with the House. We're going to be addressing some of the things that she actually said and examine whether or not what she's saying accords with the facts. Yes. But before we get into that video, may I ask everyone please to give the video a thumbs up? Go ahead, please. Give the video a thumbs up from now on. Share the video, at least with 2 or 3 persons that you think might be interested. Subscribe if you have not yet done so. And remember to hit that notification bell. And if you have already subscribed, please hit that notification bell as well so you can get notified by YouTube. Also, feel free to leave your comments in the comments section. And for all of that, I thank you all in advance. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's get on with business.
Now let's talk about what really happened, because before the mace became the headline, members of parliament were trying to speak.
So this was where she began. So let us first look at that statement that she made. And what we're going to have to do before we can move on is to look at the standing orders, because it is the standing orders that sets out the rules of speaking inside of the parliament. It says who should speak, when they should speak, and for how long. So we have to look at this first. Let us now turn our attention to the standing orders. It is perhaps relevant for us to start with the speaker and the rules of order at section 41 of the standing orders. And it says, responsibility for order in the House and in the committee. Who is responsible for maintaining the order? The Speaker in the House and the chairman in any committee shall be responsible for the observance of the rules of order in the House and committee, respectively, and their decision upon any point of order shall not be open to appeal and shall not be reviewed by the House, except upon a substantive motion made after notice. So I hear you. You want to know where all them sitting they mean. What it means is when it comes to a point of order, there's sometimes a rise on a point of order. I'm sure this is what it is saying. And the speaker makes a ruling. The ruling is final. It's not open to appeal. And the House cannot review it. So if it's somebody on the government side that rose on a point of order and the speaker rule against them, they can ask the majority member to make a vote as to whether the speaker is correct. That's not allowed, right? The only way you can review the speaker's ruling is if you move a motion, and you have to give notice before you can move that motion. And after that now, the House will review and I suppose vote on whether or not the point of order that was ruled on by the speaker was correct. Now, the question I would like to ask Nikisha Burchell, you are complaining about the opposition voices being sidelined and that the voices of the opposition is not being heard. That's what you're complaining about. That can only be because of the decisions that are being made by the speaker. Now, even though this is referring to points of order, right? I would imagine it's the same process that you would follow in order to bring the decisions of the speaker to the House for a vote. And the question now that I would like to ask, has the opposition brought any motion by notice to the House pertaining to any decision that the speaker made, whether as a speaker or as the chairman of a committee? Want to bring any motion at all to the House so that the House can look into her decision? Because that is what the rule says. What you cannot do is jump up on your feet and speak out of turn. It's not allowed. What is allowed is a process. You have a problem with a ruling, you follow the process. And 41 gives you a mechanism by which you should use if you have a disagreement about any decision that the speaker has made. You move a motion and have the matter debated. You need to show us that motion that you had tabled. If you can't produce such a motion, then what conclusion would you expect us to come to about your claims? Hmm? At section 42, it says the speaker to be heard in silence. Whenever the speaker or the chairman rises during a debate, any member then speaking or offering to speak shall sit down, and the house or committee shall be silent so that the speaker may be heard without interruption. You see, when the prime minister got up and addressed the house, how uno they dead quiet? As some uno supposed to dead quiet when uno in the house are doing business. Now, this is speaking to a specific circumstance when there is a debate and the speaker wants to be heard, the speaker must rise. All of the speakers would sit and everybody must keep quiet. That is what the standing order said. But does this mean that if the speaker is sitting down and addressing the house, you are entitled to interrupt and chat and walk up and down like in some kind of classroom? I don't think so. I should think that the implication is that the speaker must be heard. So when the speaker starts speaking, you should be quiet and listen to what the speaker has to say. Like everything else, the standing order has to be interpreted, the various sections. And whatever it is that is expressed, there is also an implication. That is my view. There's also a time limit for ministers who are making statements. They have a time limit of 12 minutes. A statement by a minister shall not exceed 12 minutes. And for the spokesperson on the opposition side, responding to the statement of the minister, that spokesperson has 5 minutes duration. Any other member may pose questions on a statement by a minister in accordance with Standing Order 17.2. The Standing Order 11A only permits whenever it is that the minister is making a statement, only 2 statements can be made during that presentation. The minister for 12 minutes, the opposition spokesperson for 5 minutes. Everybody else can only pose a question. If they start to make a statement, the speaker is going to shut them down because it's against the standing order. And the role of the speaker in the House is to ensure that the rules of the standing orders are followed. What we have witnessed in the past, after the statements are made, are members getting up and instead of posing a question, them telling the minister about what are going on in them constituency pertaining to the matter. That is not allowed. That's a statement, and it is only a question that the member is allowed to ask. If you don't have no question, him sit down and keep quiet. That's the rule. So is this what you are referring to as voices not being heard? Would this be an example in the past where the opposition voices were sidelined? And the question I'm asking is of Nikisha Burchell. There is no blind for you to get. No ease up. That's not how it works. The rules of the parliament are the rules, and the speaker is not there to cater to everybody's whim and fancy. She is there to ensure that the business of the nation gets done efficiently and effectively in a timely manner. And that is the sole purpose of the standing orders. At section 40 of the standing orders, rules for members not speaking. The speaker has not recognized you, you're not making a statement, you're not asking a question. And it says, a member present in the House during a debate shall maintain silence while another member is speaking and shall not interrupt except in accordance with these standing orders and shall otherwise conduct himself in a fit and proper manner. In what circumstances can you jump to your feet whenever it is that a member is speaking? if you're rising on a point of order. Now, that day when we were in the parliament listening to the Prime Minister's speech, Angela Brownberg was not quiet. The speaker allowed her to be chatting and chatting and chatting while the Prime Minister is giving his speech. Right? The standing order says that if you are not speaking and somebody else is, shut on no blasted mouth, no chat too much. Nothing wrong with a little barb thrown here and there from time to time. When you're not chatting, you're depend on the phone, you're not listening, what you come to parliament for? Huh? You are breaching the order of the House. On another occasion, when the members are permitted to speak, is whenever they are taking a vote at the end of a debate. And the membership is asked whether they support the motion or the bill. They are to say either aye or no. So those are the few occasions when members are allowed to speak in the parliament. Now, what took place on Tuesday was the reading of the NARRA bill. It was brought to the parliament by the Prime Minister. It was introduced as a first reading about a week or so before, and then it came to the parliament for a second reading. And the members are required to vote on each stages. This is my understanding. At 8 and 9, it says, subject to paragraphs 10 and 11 of this order, no member shall be entitled to address the House or a committee of the whole House for more than 30 minutes on any subject. Now remember, the Speaker can give time to anybody more than what is said here. At 9, it says, the mover of an original motion shall be entitled to 45 minutes for his opening speech. When it comes to the debating of a bill, because all of the members can stand up and speak for 30 minutes, the speaker is going to be strict on the time. So the presenter of the bill gets 45 minutes, everybody else 30 minutes, and the speaker has the discretion to extend the time. And they usually do, if asked, to extend the time of the first speaker on the opposition benches. It is either the spokesperson or the leader of the opposition. And it's a standing order at section 3210 that gives the speaker that discretion. Now, like everything else, when it comes to the debate, there are rules. And we're going to quickly go through the most important points of the rules of debate. At 32, time and manner of speaking. And it says, a member desiring to speak shall rise in his place, and if called upon, shall address his observations to the speaker or chairman, not to anybody else in the House. No member shall speak unless called upon by the speaker or chairman. Now, we went on to say that if two persons rise at the same time, it is the person who first catches the speaker's eye that would speak first, and then the other person would speak after. Now, it says, subject to paragraphs 4, 5, and 6 of this order, a member shall not speak more than once on any question except when the House is in a committee, if they are rising to give an explanation to something that they had said before, or they are rising on a point of order, or when it comes to the person who moved the motion or the member who piloted the bill, they are able to make a reply. In addition to that 45 minutes that they got to open the debate. And I do believe that that reply is the reply to close the debate. And they get 45 minutes to do so. The member may also second a motion or an amendment to the bill. And it says so at 4. So in summary, when debating a bill or a motion in the House, the member can only speak once for a maximum of 30 minutes on that question. The next time he can speak is if he's giving some clarity to something that he had said. And the third time is if he's seconding a motion or an amendment to the bill. The member who is piloting the bill or moving the motion, they get 45 minutes for their opening speech and 45 minutes to close the debate. Once they've completed the closing speech, the debate is over. No more contributions can be made to the debate as far as I understand it. And so what I've just read for you are the standing orders, rules of debate. Once the debate is over, there is a second reading of the bill. Now, the Prime Minister was the piloter of NARRA, and he spoke for 42 minutes to close the debate.
So I think I've captured most of the issues. And again, I want to thank all the members who have participated, who have contributed. It has enriched the bill. And it is my hope that on this matter, the public record would be that the Parliament, by acclamation, supported the bill rather than history records a divide on this momentous moment. Madam Speaker, I now ask for the second reading of the bill.
Question is that the bill be read a second time. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. Clerk?
Let me.
A bill entitled, An Act to Make Provision for the Management and Implementation of the Post-Disaster Reconstruction and Resilience Efforts consequent on the passage of Hurricane Melissa, and for resilience, generally, to establish the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority, and for connected matters read a second time.
Thank you. Marshall? The House will now resolve itself into a committee of the whole House to consider the bill clause by clause.
So, looking more critically at Nikisha Burchell's complaint in that video that she made, that controversial video, she made some comments about not being able to speak. For those of us who watched the debate, in the debate section, which was the debate in the House of Representatives, there were 21 speakers, and I'm going to run through them very quickly for you. For the opposition, there were 12 speakers in all. And for the Jamaica Labour Party, there were 9 speakers supporting the bill. On the first day, which was the 21st of April 2026, after the Prime Minister made his presentation, Mark Goling got up and made his presentation for 40 minutes. Damian Crawford then spoke for 28 minutes, Bunting for 12 minutes, Isaac Buchanan 22 minutes, and Tony Hilton for 9 minutes. During that same debate, the Jamaica Labour Party's Delano Sivrite spoke for 16 minutes, Dwight Smith for 8 minutes, Malahu Ford, she took her full 30 minutes, and Delroy Williams spoke for 7 minutes. Those were the persons who indicated that they wanted to speak on April 21. The matter had continued to last week Tuesday, and in that debate, they had 13 speakers. Angela Brownberg, well, actually, Dayton Campbell, it is difficult to tell how long he spoke for because the amount of time the ministers had to jump to their feet to correct something that he said not funny. But he spoke for a substantial amount of time. Then Angela Brownberg spoke for 13 minutes. Dawes spoke for 25 minutes. Russell indicated that he would like to say something on the bill. He spoke for 17 minutes. Nikisha Burchell herself indicated that she had some thoughts, and she spoke for 12 minutes. Denise Daly, Joyce, she spoke for 13 minutes, and Omar Newell spoke for 17 minutes. So they did not utilize their 30 minutes. They said what they had to say and they sat down. Now, on the Jamaica Labour Party side, those who rose in support of the bill was Christopher Tufton. He spoke for a few minutes. Donovan Williams for 12 minutes. Dal Rimple for 10 minutes. Floyd Green, 12 minutes. Nestor Morgan, he took the full 30 minutes. And the Prime Minister, in his closing debate, he spoke for 42 minutes. of the 45, right? So anybody who wanted to speak got their chance to speak. And when there was an indication that no one else had anything else to say because they only get a chance to speak once, then the debate was closed after the Prime Minister made his closing remarks, and then they move to a second reading of the bill and resolve the Parliament into the committee of the whole House to look at the bill clause by clause. You heard the Speaker said so. So when Nikisha Burchell spoke about the opposition voices being, what she said, sidelined, and she said that the matter didn't start with the mace. It started with voices not being heard. She couldn't possibly have been speaking about the debate. So let us look now and see if it is what went on in the committee that she's talking about. Now remember, the debate was over when the Parliament resolved itself into a committee of the full House. It's a different set of rules now that determines who speak, when they speak, and for how long. We are going to turn our attention to Section 54 of the Standing Orders, Procedure in Committee of the whole House on a bill, and it falls under Procedure on Bills. So when the bill now is at the committee stage, there's a procedure to follow, and these are the procedures at Section 54. Now it speaks to the chairman in committee, which at the time was Juliet Holness, the Speaker of the House. So she was also the chairman in committee. So it says the chairman in committee of the whole House shall call the number of each clause in succession. Remember, they are looking at the bill clause by clause. And one of two things may happen. Either the clause is put to the vote without amendment, or the clause is put to the vote with amendments. Now, when there is no amendment proposed for that particular clause, the chairman of the committee is going to say the following words, that the clause stand part of the bill, and then it is put to the vote. If the member who is piloting the bill proposes amendments, or any one of the other members in the House propose amendments to a particular clause, the piloter of the bill, if they accept the amendment as proposed, and it says, when all members who wish to speak thereon have spoken, then the chairman in committee is going to announce that the clause as amended stand part of the bill and put it to the vote. That is my understanding of what this is saying here. Looks a little jumbled, but that is my understanding. So that is more or less the procedure when discussing the bill clause by clause. Now, I want to bring this very important section to your attention. And it is very important. Now, even though it comes under the rules of debate, I don't see why it does not apply anywhere else. At 32:12, it says, listen good, no member may speak on any question after it has been fully put to the vote by the speaker or chairman. That is, after the votes of the ayes and noes have been collected. You heard that? And it is very, very important that you remember this. Once the matter has been put to the vote and the chairman says, all in favor, and you hear ayes, all against, and you hear noes, that's when it is fully put to the vote. After that, no person can speak on that clause anymore. In other words, it is closed. You can't open it again once the members vote on it. That's what this is saying. And it's very important that you remember, because you're going to see in the evidence that Nikisha Burchell brought to us to back up the things that she was saying, something of that kind occurred. Now, we're going to go now to the Parliament, and you're going to watch maybe about a few minutes of that section of the debate that Nikisha Burchell had referred to.
Now let's talk about what really happened, because before the mace became the headline, members of parliament were trying to speak. Angela Brown Burke was ignored when she tried to speak. Mark Golding ignored. Philip Paulwell, Omar Newell, Isat Buchanan, Mike On, standing. Sometimes they were heard, sometimes they weren't. They tried to catch the speaker's attention. No, don't. It doesn't make sense to turn on your mic again, member. We are finished. But sometimes they were even asked to state why they needed to speak. Before they could even speak, they were asked to confirm whether their point was new before their microphones were turned on by the speaker. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? Hold on, man. But divide. Clark?
So definitely, this was a segment in which she was talking about when they were trying to speak and they were ignored. It was definitely the committee of the full house. And you heard what the chairperson said.
Those in favor? Aye. Those against? Hold on, man. But divide. Clark?
So she took a vote on a particular clause, and you heard somebody say, hold on, man. That was Russell. That was the opposition member. And when we join the footage, you're going to see what transpired with him. And I'll make further comments then. When we go to the footage, you're going to see the chairman in committee explain to the members how it actually works. It is the piloter of the bill that has the full power in determining what is accepted and what is rejected. Now, remember, you're supposed to be putting forward an amendment. You should say what section and what words you want to be in the clause or what words you want to remove. That's what an amendment means, right? Listen now to Russell and tell me whether he had mentioned anything that he wanted to be taken out, added in. If not, what was he doing?
My second point, which I'd like the Prime Minister to hear, relates to a comment which the Prime Minister made, which suggested that NARRA will not use the resources of existing government agencies. However, what we have at 4.4 allows the authority to do that because it can, legally or not, utilize existing capacities, resources, facilities, and systems of government, which may be appropriately co-opted, right? So it does give it the power to co-opt existing resources. So it goes against the intent as explained by the Prime Minister.
He made a statement, posed a question or two to the Prime Minister. Did you hear him say to the proposer, Nestor Morgan, I would like the bill to be amended in the following way. At paragraph such and such, add the word such and such, or add this statement, and then give an explanation to why he wants it added, or if he sees something in there that shouldn't be there, he asks for that segment to be removed. Remember, the bill is written, and what they want to do is to change what is there, or if it's not to be changed, then they vote on it as is. That's the whole point. Now, what was he doing? He was making a statement and asking questions. He did not propose any amendment.
Yes?
Member, are you through with your questions?
I am, yeah.
So there you go. You heard what the chairman said. Member, are you through with your questions? And he said yes. So all that he had said was interpreted as questions. And he himself admitted that he was asking questions, not a proposal to amend the particular clause. He did not propose an amendment. In fact, what really should have happened was that his questions should have been struck from the record because that was not the stage of the committee. The debates were over. The next person you will hear speaking is Angela Brownberg. And I want you to listen good and tell me if you hear whether she made any proposals that a particular section in the clause 4, should be changed, words should be added, words should be taken out. Listen good.
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I was looking at, I think that this is probably the most appropriate place if we were going to include mandatory environment impact assessment. I don't see it anywhere. No, I'm just asking. I didn't see it anywhere else, and I thought that this would be a good place for it. Did I miss it? because if I didn't miss it, I think that it is important. No, even to say we're necessary. I mean, I'd like to know that we are, in fact, protecting the environment and that we are making sure that these kind of T's are crossed and I's dotted in this regard.
You heard for yourself that Angela Brownberg was allowed to make a statement. This is supposed to be the stage in the committee where they are proposing amendments to the particular clause. She's asking about the environmental impact, whether there was any mention of it. And you hear Mark said no, right? She's not making a proposal to put these words in this particular section to amend a particular clause. She was just asking and making a statement about what she thought was important. In other words, she was debating and the debate was over. Because she put no proposal for them, there was nothing for them to look at. And I'm talking about the pilot of the bill. There was nothing for the pilot of the bill to look at in terms of amendment because she had made no proposals. You understand now, Nikisha Burchell?
Madam Chair.
Hold on a moment, please. Member Jackson actually was before.
I can yield if that's the case.
Yours was covered. Thank you. Minister Samuda?
Madam Chair, there is absolutely nothing in this piece of legislation that is in conflict with the Standards Act. And to the best of my knowledge, I'm the only person in this House on either side that has sat as chair of the Standards Council. So I can say so with a fair degree of comfort, because literally this is an unnecessary point. So, Madam Chair, I would encourage you as a former chair of the Standards Council. I don't believe the member from East Kingston chaired it. I know you'd have appointed chairs. I don't believe the member from Western St. Andrew would have chaired the Standards Council, though you'd have appointed members. Correct? I can assure you, the Standards Council's legislative remit is not in question in this particular matter. And I would encourage you, Madam Chair, to put this matter to a vote, because it is not in contravention of anything related to the Bureau of Standards. And I am certain of that. So please put it to a vote, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I just want to respond in short. One, we cannot use NARRA as a catch-all for all issues of efficiency. To the member from St. Anne, and the Minister Samuda would have responded to the matter related to 4F, and I just want to say that it will be in accordance with the existing laws of Jamaica.
So I don't know what Nikisha Burchell was doing at this point, but Nestor Morgan, who was the person piloting the bill in absence of the Prime Minister, had responded to the member from St. Anne, that's Russell. He is the Member of Parliament for South East St. Anne. Nestor Morgan had also deferred to the statement that was made by Samuda in responding to what Angela Brownberg was saying. So they were not ignored. What were you doing at the time when they were responding to them? Nikisha Burchell?
I don't think there is anything else for me to respond to. Can we put the matter to a vote? That's the I that you. Yeah, but the Prime Minister has already addressed it. With the Constitution of Jamaica, the Charter of Fundamental Rights and Freedoms, it's not the same thing. No, what I'm saying is, to echo what the Prime Minister said, the Charter of Fundamental Rights and Freedoms, as well as the Constitution of Jamaica, address it.
So what was Mark Golding saying in the background? he was forcefully attempting to have his proposal to amend Clause 4 of the bill to add that persons should not be discriminated against, either for religion, ethnicity, disability, or political views. And the Prime Minister had responded and said there's no need to put that in the bill because the Constitution already deals with that matter. So Nestor Morgan is saying there's nothing for him to respond to with respect to what they were proposing. And he's telling them, what about for him proposal? And that is what Nestor Morgan was saying at the time. The Prime Minister already dealt with it and said it's already in the Constitution. There is no need to encumber the bill, more or less, with what you are proposing. Now, is this what Nikisha Burchell referring to as Mark Golding being ignored? Mark Golding doesn't have any right under the standing orders or even the Constitution of Jamaica to make proposal and have that proposal accepted in any bill as of right. He doesn't have that right. And so if the Prime Minister who piloted the bill chose to reject what he was proposing as an amendment to the clause, then he has every right to do so. So what did Mark Golding do? He decided that he wants his proposal to be put to a vote.
Opposition Leader, let me just make sure I clarify. Are you saying that you would like to put to a vote the amendment you're recommending? I would like the Minister to tell me what he feels about that, because I find that to be quite abnormal, and I would not, no, I would never go there. What we put to a vote in the House are the amendments, clause by clause, being referred to the House by the Minister piloting the bill, and hold on, Opposition Leader, and where there are differences in views, as in the case where you are of the view that you would like to have a vote on your amendment, that is done through the process of a divide if you are not in a position to support the clause. All right, go ahead. Hold on, one at a time.
Yes.
Opposition Leader first.
Yes. Just to say that.
Hold on, Opposition Leader, and after that, we go to the Minister piloting the bill. Thank you. Go ahead, Opposition Leader.
There's no provision in the Constitution that I'm aware of that protects individuals from political discrimination. Secondly, enforcing constitutional rights requires going to court and all of the expense that that entails. The advantage of putting a provision in here where the body itself, NARRA, would have a specific obligation not to discriminate on those grounds would be that the CEO and staff of NARRA would know that their own statute directs them not to do that. And given that there are other provisions which require all individuals involved in projects to be disclosed to the Cabinet and so on for the Cabinet to approve, there is a real risk of a perception of that arising. This is why I think it's an important amendment, and if you won't put it to the vote, we will just have to answer to you when you put the clause without it.
Yes, that is perfect, Opposition Leader.
Chair, I wish to put clause 4.
No, but sorry, Minister, you didn't respond to my second point.
No, member, you asked what is the mischief. I have not been in the House for as long as many of the members, but the day we get to that place where we start voting on pieces of amendments, it goes into a totally different realm. No, we are not there. Minister, you may proceed.
Thank you very much, Chair. Remember that the only amendment that we're putting is in the marginal note to the clause, delete the word "the."
Sorry, but my question...
I am putting clause 4 with the amendment. I am putting the amendment to clause 4. I am putting the amendment to clause 4. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those against?
Hold on, man. But
divide. Clark? No, leader of opposition business. Do you have a different point? Do you have a different point? Yes or no? Yes or no? The chair doesn't pilot the bill, members. So if the minister who is piloting the bill has asked me to put the amendments, he has already asked. The minister is piloting the bill.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Members.
Yes, Madam Chair, the simple point I wish to put and to make is that any member, any one of us, can propose an amendment to any section in committee
That's
of
not
the bill.
in question.
And
Opposition business.
Madam,
That's not
Madam Chair,
in contention.
Madam Chair,
That's not in
your
contention.
role is really to allow the members to speak.
No, I take offense to that. No. Leader of opposition business. If you do note, the chair has allowed for amendments to be proposed. The amendments are proposed. I am saying to you, leader of opposition business, that to start an exercise where we are voting on the proposed amendment of any member is out of the norm. What we vote on is the amendment that is being put forward by the person piloting the bill. And all members of the House have the opportunity to vote yea, nay, to call a divide and vote accordingly. Minister?
Just on a point of clarification, Chairman, the leader of the opposition pointed out that he's not aware of anywhere in the Constitution that speaks to discrimination on the basis of one's politics. My information, and I stand to be corrected, is that the Constitution does speak to one's political opinion. So we just, well, you know, one's opinion could equate to an affiliation as well. So I just want that for the record, Madam Chair, that the requirement for this to be included would be redundant.
Chair, can we have
Put your mic on. So members, no, it doesn't make sense to turn on your mic again, member. We are finished. The person who is piloting the bill, for your understanding, has already indicated that we should put the clause as he is putting forward. Two options are available to us. We vote yea, nay, or we call for a divide. And members, I am asking that we do not go down the rabbit hole of attempting to introduce something very new to the parliament. So as leader of opposition business said, members, every single member is allowed to put forward any recommendation you would like. That is not a challenge. However, the person piloting the bill ultimately will say to all of us in the House, this is what I am putting to the House for a vote. So we will not start a process of voting on what you would like to vote on. House Leader?
So when the chairman had said, it don't make sense, put on back your mic, it was Angela Brown-Burke that she was referring to. And remember what the chairman said? The matter was closed. Why was it closed? because the person piloting the bill had asked the chairman to put it to a vote, and it was put to a vote, the ayes, and then there was a call for a divide. Once it is put to a vote, there is no more discussion can be had on that clause. That's the rule. So when Nikisha Burchell claimed that Angela Brownburg was frustrated because she was ignored, it was explained to her what the rules of the House was, what the standing order said. Now, if Angela Brownburg and Nikisha Burchell had a difficulty understanding something so simple, then that is their problem. That is not the problem of the chairman, and certainly not the problem of the committee.
Chair, we already put the clause with the amendment that we noted, which is in the marginal note to the clause, delete the word "the," and I'm asking you to put that clause. Clause 4 as amended.
The question is that we put clause 4 as amended and a divide has been called. Clerk.
So that was where it began. It was not the mace, as Nikisha Burchell said. It was their ignorance in not understanding, taking the trouble to understand what it is that the standing order says, how they go about debate, and how they go about making amendments in the committee stage, where the bill is being looked at clause by clause and voted on. They don't understand it. So that is the reason why they opened their mouth and spoke, making statements, asking questions, instead of doing what Nestor Morgan did. Did you notice what he did?
Thank you very much, Chair. Remember that the only amendment that we're putting is in the marginal note to the clause, delete the word "the."
Sorry, but my question.
So for all you dunces that in our parliament that don't try to find out nothing, you heard how an amendment is done? Delete the word "the," or you add words "the," or you want a sentence to be put as paragraph B or C or something to be deleted. That is what an amendment is. You're taking what is written and you want to change it to either add something or take something out. That is what is required. Now, when you heard that voice intervening saying about his question, that was Russell. Russell wanted to know why I'm not take his question into consideration. So somebody, apparently from the government side, had to shout out and tell him that is not how the amendment works. Right? So if that is what he was frustrated about, he needs to go and take up the standing order and go and learn, or go to one of the oldsters like KD Knight and ask him how this thing work and get a little shortcut lesson. So in presenting you this clip, it is a full section of what it was that Nikisha Burchell had in her video as her evidence that they were being stifled, that they are not allowed to speak, right? That they are being sidelined. And as you have heard for yourself, not Nagoso. But, these writers don't have no sense, And we would like to thank Nikisha Burchell for having brought this to our attention, because what is clear and what is evident when we look at it a second time is how ignorant they are about matters pertaining to even a debate on a bill. They are clueless. Not even a simple matter like proposing an amendment to a clause of a bill that is before the House. They don't understand how to do it. Russell thinks that what it is about is to ask questions. And Angela Brownburg, who has been in the House since 2017, she don't know either. She was asking a question about the environmental impact assessment, right? She was not proposing an amendment to the clause. So she don't know what she ought to do. And Nikisha Burchell, being fully dunce, is coming to tell the public that they were ignored, that their proposals that they put forward was ignored. Absolute rubbish. Well, folks, let me leave it here for now. I want to thank everyone for joining me today, for giving the video a thumbs up, for sharing, subscribing, and leaving your comments in the comments section. Until next time, take very good care of yourselves and walk good.